Sanya, very good evening to you, and thanks for your time this evening. Tell us what this victory means for Jade.
I think for Jade, this is incredible news. As lawyers for human rights, we're very, very happy and proud of this judgment. And we're sure Jade would be too if only we could reach her this evening to tell her about it. And so we hope to tell her about it as soon as possible so that she can share in the joy. I think this for her it's a tremendous day for Jade, but also for other transgender and gender non-conforming people across South Africa. Even though this case has played out in the sort of correctional services setting, it has implications for the state as a whole, and especially for those state departments that engage in or have to deliver services in a sort of an institutional care setting. So shelters, schools, clinics, that judgment touches on all of these kinds of settings.
So it's one thing that it's a victory for Jade, Sanya, but what about those who did wrong by her? We're talking about the Department of Correctional Services, the judge finding that they were found to have acted in a discriminatory manner. So what are the lessons learned? Are there going to be any penalties? Is there going to be any kind of, you know, I want to say loosely, punishment for those who actually made her life miserable in prison?
Well, I think first of all, the order of the court has stated that Jade from now on has to be referred to using the female pronoun, which is great news, and that's fantastic. Also to have all of the things that they've confiscated from her, personal items and so on, returned to her, and never to confiscate them again, and to allow her to freely express her gender identity in the prison setting. But very importantly, the judge has also ordered that gender sensitivity training be conducted, not only at the prison where Jade is incarcerated, but across the Department of Correctional Services, so that this never happens again to any other transgender inmate.
And what's sort of been the treatment Jade has received from other prisoners there? Because you would have to worry. I mean, prison at the best of times is a dangerous place for whether you're male or female, but for somebody who's now going to identify as female, to be in a male prison would be an added challenge. And I'd like to know, just, you know, has she had the support of other prisoners? Is she going to be safe now that she identifies as a woman in prison?
Well, actually, Jade has never had difficulties with other inmates, and she's been in more than one prison over her period of incarceration. There are many inmates who already use the correct pronouns when speaking to her. They all know her as Jade, and she's never really had a difficulty on the basis of her gender identity with other inmates. It's always been the system. The system has been the problem, and the system has tried to force Jade into a binary system in which she simply doesn't fit as a transgender or gender non-conforming person. And so we don't have concerns at this stage about Jade's safety. Jade doesn't have concerns about her own safety, and I think that really speaks volumes about the attitudes of the state as opposed to the people with whom Jade is incarcerated.
Does this open the door for her to be moved to a female prison? Does she even want to be moved to a female prison?
Well, at this stage, she's never had access to gender-affirming healthcare or to other services that allow her to express her gender identity, such as the Alteration of Sex Description Act, that would allow a person to change the gender marker in their ID. And so for now, Jade is very happy in the men's prison, and just all she requires is reasonable accommodation while she is there, in accordance with her rights to equality, to human dignity and freedom of expression. And the court has certainly affirmed that today.
And how many other prisoners, you'd have a very good idea, Sanya, how many other prisoners are facing challenges like this?
We estimate that there are quite a few transgender prisoners who are stuck in this binary system where they are not accommodated, where they essentially are invisibilized in this binary system and forced to conform in accordance with the so-called sex or gender of the prison that they find themselves in. And we certainly hope that this judgment is going to make a positive impact for all of those prisoners. And we're going to be watching the implementation of this judgment very, very closely to make sure that all of those inmates get to feel the benefit of what the court has ordered today. And we're also going to make sure that other state departments take note of the fact that you cannot ignore the existence of transgender prisoners. You cannot ignore the existence of transgender people in our society, as well as gender non-conforming people, and you have to make provision for their substantive rights to equality, to dignity, and to freedom of expression in your policies, but also, very importantly, in your practices.
All right, thanks very much for that, Sanya Bondman from Lawyers for Human Rights Gender Equality Program there.